Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking and reviewing my Game Week 1 team for Fantasy Premier League. Now, I know it's been a while, so we're going to catch up on all things, how I'm thinking, how the team's going, and what my thoughts are for future game weeks down the line. Now, thank you very much for the support in pre-season. We have reached, I think it was 940 subscribers. We are so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if we could do everything to get there, that'd be greatly appreciated. Only 60 away. Smash that subscribe button for much more content in the future. Drop a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed today's content. I know the viewership is split between FPL and Sun Dream Team. So tell me in the comments down below which one are the games that you are currently playing. If you're playing both, tell me that as well. And hit the bell notification to make sure you don't miss any of my content in the future. Now, without further ado, let's crack on with the video. With everything that we've missed so far leading up to the Game Week 1 deadline and beyond, I just thought it'd be nice to round things up and see where my thought process was at with regards to each pick in this team. Now, as you can see from the screenshot on your devices, the screenshot tells you the players that are readily available in my team going forward and how Game Week 1 is gone so far. Now, my team is as follows. We have Sanchez in goal of Chelsea. Now, I toyed with the idea of Cucurella for quite a long while, but the injury to Levi Colwill and just the unpredictability of that Chelsea back four of who was going to partner him. Obviously, we've now heard rumours that the centre-back partner with Trevor Chalobah is also injured currently, so I think it would be Jarell Hatto who might partner him in defence going forward. So there's a bit of doubt there, but for me, Chelsea's fixtures were good enough to go and target. In the back three, there was a lot of change going into the final deadline. Similar to Sanchez with regards to injuries, Tarkowski's centre-back partner, Jared Branthwaite, picked up a small injury, we believe, but that was enough to put lots of doubt in my mind. Still went for him. I think the DEFCON points, the defensive contribution asset and attributes that he brings to the team, even for that 5.5 million price bracket was enough to leave me in. Of course, he has yet to play. He's got Leeds away on Monday night. So I'll be intrigued to see how he gets on in that one for the defensive contribution side of things. Also hoping for a clean sheet. Nico Williams was Murillo for a lot of pre-season. Murillo offers a lot more for DEFCON points, is more reliable, especially with players like Rico Lewis and Leif Davies currently being linked with Nottingham Forest. But I needed that 0.5 value elsewhere. And for that, Nico Williams was slotted in. 5 clean sheets out of their 7 pre-season games. Of course, they was part of the Golden Glove and best defence clean sheet wise in the league last season. So I think Forest are still a very reliable team going forward for clean sheets, and that's why he made it into my team. And Pedro Porro, in defence, he was Van de Ven for a lot of pre-season, but funds being freed up elsewhere allowed me to get that extra million into defence. Now, unfortunately, it seemed like Kudus was taking a few of the set pieces today, and also that's not what you're after. I thought with Maddison's injury, Porro would take the majority of them, which is why that extra million was put into him. If I'd have known they were split heavily, like they are, I think I would have stuck with Van de Ven and put that million elsewhere. One to look out for in the future. The 5-man midfield was chopping and changing right up until the deadline, but these are the 5 that I ended up with. We've got Jorginho Rutter of Brighton, Tijani Reijnders, we'll get to him in a minute, Mohamed Salah, Cole Palmer and Bruno Fernandes. They are the 5 that make up my midfield. Rutter, it was a lot of to-ing and throwing. I gambled on him being the starting forward for Brighton, potentially on penalties as well. Now, he's picked up 6 points in the opening fixture, a home fixture at home to Fulham. That was a lot of homes then. But the assist, he got brought down for a penalty and it was also taken off before Brighton conceded, so he did get the clean sheet point. He started up front in this game. He got taken off around the 70th minute for Welbeck. And I think he will be on penalties if O'Reilly leaves to Juventus. So it's one to look out for. Of course, I would have hoped for him to be on the penalty today, especially with him being a midfielder playing up front and out of position player. But 6 points for a £6 million asset, I'll take that and we'll move on. Tijani Reijnders, the star of the show for me this week, 5.5 million. For a lot of pre-season, it was Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest and even a bit of Dewsbury Hall at Everton now, formerly of Chelsea. But Reijnders, those 2 goals in pre-season really tipped the balance for me. I'm glad that I went there. He was very attacking in the game against Wolves. He picked up a goal. He picked up an assist in that game. Unfortunately, not in the bonus points because he also picked up a booking, which I find ridiculous, to be quite honest. He was the best player on the pitch by far. I know Haaland got 2 goals, but if you watch the game, he ran the show in midfield and he was exactly what Man City have been missing for so many years. Legs in midfield, a willing runner. It reminded me a bit of Pogba in the way that he went about things. It was very graceful on the pitch. It was a bit like Pogba and De Bruyne at times. If you watch it, you'll see what I mean without trying to label him as that kind of midfielder after 90 minutes, but he had that aura about him in midfield. Mo Salah picking up the 8 points in the Liverpool 4-2 win on Friday night. A 93rd or 92nd minute goal from him, pretty much saving the Salah captainers this week to some extent. Salah does what Salah does. He scores in August. He scores on the opening day once again. 8 points. Take it and move on. Move into next week. Unfortunately, it's Newcastle away and Arsenal at home in the next 2. So it's really one to look out for. But we'll get to a certain Norwegian in a minute. Cole Palmer and Bruno Fernandes are yet to play. Similar to Sanchez in goal, I thought the Chelsea fixtures were just too good to not go after. That's why we've doubled up in the Chelsea attack. But Cole Palmer, I'm hoping that he does his Cole Palmer type things, runs the game, runs the show, gets attacking returns. And Bruno Fernandes, I've picked him for DEFCON points, for potential set pieces and attacking returns as well. Unfortunately, he's got my team in the opening game, so I'm not hoping for too much from him. But I think going forward, he is priced on the high side of things. But hopefully going forward, he picks up the bits and pieces here and there. He might be one to look at after game week 3 or 4 when they play Burnley at home. Maybe shift him on to somebody else, perhaps a Palace asset around that time or somebody whose fixtures turn around there. So it's definitely one to look out for. And the front 2 that I ended up plumping for in my starting 11 was João Pedro and Ollie Watkins. Now, Watkins throughout pre-season has scored in pretty much every game. Yes, Villa's pre-season fixtures were more on the favourable side of things. There wasn't facing any tough opposition really. But with those goal-scoring instincts kicking in and well and truly in play, I went with him for that 9 million price bracket. I think Victor Gyökeres was one that also enticed me around that price bracket. But with Man United away and Liverpool away in the first 3, despite having Leeds at home in the second game, I went for Watkins instead. Unfortunately, he blanked. His team were down to 10 men for 25, 30 minutes of that game against Newcastle because of the Konsa red card. But even before then, Watkins didn't really look right. He didn't look like he was going to get in the game too much. So I'm hoping for a little bit more from him, and he is definitely on the one to watch thing already after just 1 game. And João Pedro, I opted for him more for the ownership play than anything else. He ended up being about 55% owned, 55% owned that was in the player base. Of course, he started his Chelsea career very well. He's scoring goals, he's getting involved with the play, and Chelsea's attacking fixtures going forward are a little bit better than they are defensively. So for that reason, he did end up in my attack. I've doubled up on the Chelsea attack rather than the Villa one. I could have gone for Morgan Rogers in midfield. I could have gone for double Liverpool midfield, like a few have with Wirtz and Salah or Gakpo and Salah. But I decided to double up on the Chelsea attack. I feel like once the Chelsea team properly clicks, there's a lot of goals in there. They're playing potentially a Palace team without Eberici Eze. I think he's being pulled out of the squad tomorrow with an impending transfer, unfortunately, to Tottenham. So as an Arsenal fan, I was very much hoping he would be on the left-hand side for us in the coming season, but it seems like Arsenal's targets have switched to potentially Rodrigo. But knowing my club, it will probably be someone like Madueke shifted onto the wrong side of the pitch on his opposite foot, just shoehorning him into the team to try and make a point, similar to how we did with Havertz. But that's a bit of frustration coming out with Arsenal transfer who's there rather than João Pedro himself. Unfortunately, he won't be on penalties this year like he was at Brighton, but I can see for that 7.5 million price bracket, it can do quite well. Someone I did toy with there was Evan Nielsen and also Strand Larsen, who both blanked on the opening day. I think Strand Larsen picked up quite a few knocks in that opening game, playing against Man City, and Evan Nielsen wasn't the star of the show. That was Semenyo in midfield for Bournemouth. So I quite like the fact that I've got João Pedro for this Palace fixture coming up, and I could have had one of those other 2, but we'll see how it all plays out in the future. My bench options were pretty threadbare. got Dubravka, got Estavao from Burnley, the defender. We've got Mark Guéhi up front. Now, he is an interesting one. Not many minutes currently for that £4.5 million price bracket. And I've also got Chris Richards of Crystal Palace. He's there to cover my defence in game week 4 or 5, I believe. So it's more of a rotation option. I think that back three mainly will stay as my back three. Of course, they've got all individual assets. They've got DEFCON points. They've got clean sheet points. They've got high potential for bonus. So playing them in games might be the play going forward, with the occasional player coming off the bench defensive wise to maybe fill in a few gaps here and there. So a few early thoughts with regards to transfers and how this team might progress over the coming game weeks. It's a bit hit and miss at the minute. I've got 40 points with, I believe, 6 or 5 players still to play. Yep, 6 players still to play. So it's not too bad, but it could be a whole lot better. I think I've only blanked with one player as things stand, and that's Ollie Watkins. But with a lot of people, I've captained a certain Norwegian up front. They've already got the head starts. Of course, Erling Haaland scored twice against Wolves. I think he picked up 13 points with 3 bonus points. So those of you who went for Haaland over Salah have gone game week 1. You've got a big tick on your names. He's definitely ahead as things stand, with more favourable fixtures coming up as well. I feel like Haaland might have been the play, but I don't want to be too reactionary on that front. I got it wrong last year. I ended up with Mo Salah and Haaland around game week 3 or 4 after I changed it. And it might end up being the case again if Haaland's scoring does continue. But players like Ekitike, I won't be rushing to get him in at all. Yes, he did score and get an assist for Liverpool. But with the Isak transfer potentially looming on the horizon, there looks to be no solution going forward with that. It doesn't look like he's going to be reintegrated with that Newcastle team anytime soon. I feel like there could be a transfer on the horizon to Liverpool. What that would do to Ekitike, I'm not too sure. There's been rumours that he might be pushed out to the left, but Gakpo played 90 yesterday, and it looked like Arne Slot didn't actually trust Ekitike to go out wide. So, who knows on that front. Other players, of course, I've got Tijani Reijnders. Thankfully, I have. There'll be a lot of people that just push for him and try to get him into the team ahead of game week 2. I actually think he will be the first player to rise in price. I think that £5.5 million will quickly get closer to £6 million as the weeks progress, especially for that price range. I mean, for a goal and an assist in the first week for practically an enabler, it's very good going for him. Defensive wise, Aït-Nouri, another one that flourished this week against his old club for Manchester City. Pet roulette is going to be a thing. It's not going to be a thing now, but after game week 3, when the European fixtures turn up, I think the Manchester City assets, bar Haaland, might be a one to watch out for. Of course, Nico O'Reilly, I believe his name is, the left back, the youngster from last season. He actually came on into midfield in the fixture against Wolves. But I still think with Gavardio currently out as well, who potentially will play left centre half or left back, Aït-Nouri isn't nailed completely. Great for DEFCON, clearly. It looks like he's picked up a few extra points this week that not many would have thought of. So for those of you who did plump for him, I nearly did, very, very nearly. With the news when Gavardio was deemed unfit for this week, Aït-Nouri did really come into my equation, but I didn't pull the trigger. And for those of you who did, well played. Other notable scorers from this week, who have you got? You got a couple at Brighton, goal scoring wise. You're not going to go for O'Reilly. He's got Juventus links heavily. You got Fulham. Muniz didn't even start the game against Brighton. It was Jimenez up front. So would you go for him? There's no one I'm really pushing for right now, bar Erling Haaland. Of course, this fixture's still to come tomorrow and Monday night. But as things stand, I'm probably going to be rolling my transfer going into game week 2. Could I get maybe a Bukayo Saka in for Mohamed Salah? That's a shout. With Leeds at home, but with them two teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, playing each other in game week 3, I feel like that might be a smidge reactionary. And in this game, I think patience is key. Perhaps last season I was too patient for far too long, and it did cost me a better rank than 30k or so. But my shortlist is very short as things stand, and I do feel like I will roll the transfer going into game week 2. And that concludes my game week 1 roundup and my game week 2 early thoughts and opinions. With regards to Fantasy Premier League, I like to take things a little bit calmer, sit back a while and see how things play out compared to Sun Dream Team, which is the other fantasy game that I play. Of course, on Fantasy Premier League, the points are a lot less. There's a lot less avenues despite the DEFCON points being brought in. You have goals, you have assists, you have clean sheets, you now have DEFCON points. But the scores are always going to be a bit lower. It seems like in game week 1, the players that we'd expect to score, Salah, Haaland, etc., have bagged, whereas a few of the other ones have nipped in. So it's just calm. Leave a comment down below on how your week is going so far. I know a lot of you are doing exceptionally well. I've seen your posts over on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You sent messages over there telling me how well your week's going or how bad your team's going. And there's a lot of ups and downs across the player base. But the one thing to know is this is only game week 1. There's 37 more to come. We've got a lot more time. Keep the faith. Keep the faith with your teams, keep the faith with your players, and just see where things go. But that is it for today's video, I'm afraid. Don't forget to check out in the description below all my socials. There is X, we've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, all the good stuff. So go over there and check it out. And if you could, please do hit that subscribe button. We are only 60 away from 1,000, as I said in the introduction. It'll be a massive milestone. And I thank you all very much for the support on the channel. So go ahead, click the button. Don't miss the content in the future. Hit a thumbs up if you've enjoyed today's content. Fantasy Premier League isn't as frequent as Sun Dream Team on the channel, but do leave a comment down below if you like seeing this kind of stuff. It won't be as frequent, but the content will still be here and I'll still be updating you on how my season's going, what I'm thinking about going forward, and also tips and tricks potentially to boost those rankings for me and for any of you watching as well. Thank you very much for watching, and you'll be seeing me in a new video very soon.